Welcome everyone. Today we're diving deep into the unfolding drama surrounding Sean Diddy Combs and his highly charged trial. We're talking about serious allegations involving sex trafficking, transportation for prostitution, and racketeering with conspiracy.
Right, it's a case that's got the media buzzing, and honestly, it's one of the most high-profile celebrity court cases we've seen in years. It's all very intense.
Now, if we jump straight in, we have a trial that's not just about one set of charges. Diddy is accused of orchestrating a criminal enterprise where allegations revolve around orchestrating what the indictment calls freak-offs, multi-day orgies that some describe as anything from consensual encounters to environments where people felt forced into sexual situations.
That's right, and part of what really stands out are the details, like that bizarre discovery of 1,000 bottles of baby oil at his residence, which the prosecution is using to paint a picture of the activities that went on during these so-called white parties.
It's like, imagine walking into a party and finding 1,000 bottles of baby oil scattered around. It's like a scene from an over-the-top movie. This element alone has put the spotlight on the kind of lifestyle Diddy is alleged to have led.
And speaking of lifestyle, it's important to note his background. Born in Harlem and raised in Mount Vernon, New York, Diddy's journey in the music industry is nothing short of remarkable. His early struggles, like losing his father at a tender age, really shaped his path.
Yep, he started off tough, and then during his time at Howard University, actually, he earned the nickname Puff for his, huffing and puffing when he was upset. That little detail always intrigues me because it shows how personal traits can become part of a legend's story.
Right, because it's not just about his music, it's about the persona he built. From founding Bad Boy Records and signing iconic artists like the Notorious B.I.G., to turning his brand into a cultural phenomenon with ventures like Sean John Clothing and Ciroc Vodka.
Absolutely. And that larger-than-life image is exactly why this trial holds so much weight. It's not just a legal case, it's a collision of his legacy and the stark allegations. We need to consider the nuances, the prosecution's evidence, including sex tapes and testimonies by multiple alleged victims, contrasts sharply with Diddy's insistence that all relationships were consensual.
Right. There are 5 alleged victims now, with details that have shifted throughout the investigation. 3 of them are described as previous romantic partners, while 1 was a staff member, and we know the identities of the others will be partly shielded under pseudonyms. It really underlines the complexity of the case.
Yeah, it really does. And let's not forget, the government is calling these alleged multi-day sexual escapades freak-offs. Now, while Diddy argues they were consensual and an extension of his party persona, the accusers paint a much darker picture.
True. It's interesting because, on one hand, you have the image of the charismatic music mogul known for his party lifestyle. On the other, you have these serious charges that could, if proven, change everything about his legacy and even his future business ventures.
Right. And his legal team is formidable, featuring high-profile attorneys like Mark Agnifilo and Tini Garagos, among others. They're arguing that these relationships were consensual incidents of personal lifestyle choices, while also dismissing the civil suits as opportunistic cash grabs.
Yeah, I did find that point a bit controversial. While his lawyers stress privacy and consent, the prosecution is showing tapes and other evidence that suggest otherwise, like those disturbing sex tapes and the baby oil incident. It makes you wonder, can such evidence truly be dismissed as just part of a wild lifestyle?
Well, that's the central battle in the courtroom. With tape evidence in hand, the prosecution is pushing that narrative of non-consensual acts, while Diddy's team counters by stressing that every encounter was mutually agreed upon. Like both sides are constructing mirrors reflecting very different realities.
And then there's the matter of cross-examination. The accusers, some of whom have very personal ties, past romantic relationships, even staff roles, are set to testify. Their accounts, especially under the scrutiny of cross-examination, could be a turning point in swaying public opinion.
For sure. And it's not just about the evidence presented on drinks and sex tapes. There's also the whole narrative around these white parties and the environment that supposedly made many of these alleged crimes possible.
I'd like to challenge one point here. Do you think the characterization of these events, the freak-offs, is entirely a product of the prosecution's framing? I mean, can the same events really be painted in two completely different lights?
That's a great question. It's definitely not a clear-cut portrayal. Diddy claims these were lengthy consensual sexual encounters, while the victims described them as, coerced environments. It's a battle over interpretation. And I think the jury's understanding of what happened will hinge on how each detail is presented.
Right. It's all about the framing. And then we also have the additional twist of civil lawsuits, including one headlined by Tony Busby, an attorney alleging there could be over 150 cases. This is turning into something of a legal avalanche that could bring even more high-profile names into contention.
Yes, and that even includes names like Jay-Z, though he's strongly denied any involvement. There was this lawsuit that initially included him, but it dropped with prejudice after accusations were retracted. It shows just how messy these situations can become when allegations start to circulate among celebrities.
And what's particularly compelling is the potential life sentence if Diddy is convicted on all 3 federal counts. It's a massive risk for someone whose entire career has been built on branding and image.
Indeed, the stakes are astronomical. Not only could this alter his legacy, but there's the ripple effect on all his ventures. Sean John Clothing, Revolt TV, his investments in Ciroc. It's like a domino chain reaction that could impact various facets of his empire.
Indeed. So when we talk about the trial proceedings, what should we be looking for? What's the real drama in the courtroom?
Well, one key moment will be the cross-examination of the alleged victims. Think about it. These individuals, some of whom have shared parts of deeply personal experiences, will be under intense scrutiny. Their consistency, credibility, and the details they provide could be pivotal.
Yeah, and there's also the possibility of Diddy himself taking the stand, which could be a dramatic twist, either bolstering his case or further complicating his narrative.
Absolutely. It's like walking a tightrope. A lot rides on how he presents himself. His defense team's strategy is to portray him as a savvy businessman whose personal life choices, however wild, are not criminal.
Right. Yet, one must wonder, can all these high-energy celebrity parties and the evidence gathered there be explained away as mere consensual escapades? The baby oil, the tapes, it's a lot to contend with.
It sure is. It's also an insight into the shifting dynamics of celebrity culture. From his rise in hip-hop as a music mogul to an icon involved in larger-than-life controversies, Diddy's case is almost a microcosm of modern celebrity culture.
That's a great point. And it's fascinating how these legal battles, whether federal or civil, force us to re-examine the image of an artist who, for many, was seen as a symbol of success and entertainment.
Yeah, and it really brings home the point that no matter how iconic one becomes, the law doesn't treat anyone differently. Every detail, from the taped encounters to the baby oil evidence, is up for debate in court.
Do you think this trial will fundamentally change how the public views Diddy and, by extension, the celebrity legal landscape?
I think so. It might force a reevaluation, not just of Diddy's legacy, but also how we perceive power, consent, and the blurred lines between private life and public persona. It's like the legal system is the great equalizer here, making us question everything we once assumed.
Yeah, it's like every new piece of evidence and testimony adds a layer of complexity, not just to his personal narrative, but to the broader conversation about celebrity culture and accountability.
Exactly. And let's touch on the media's role here. Every piece of evidence, including those controversial white party labels and the circulating social media clips, only amplifies the public's interest, sometimes even skewing perception even before the trial concludes.
Exactly. And this is why coverage, like what TCP Podcast is planning for the trial, is so crucial. Being in New York, reporting from the courtroom, interviewing experts, court reporters, and getting real-time updates, it ensures that the narrative remains grounded in actual courtroom proceedings rather than just sensational headlines.
Spot on. It's about keeping the conversation informed and balanced. And while Diddy's defense paints the charges as opportunistic and politically motivated, the sheer volume of evidence, including the tapes and the baby oil stash, means that the jury is in for a long, challenging decision-making
Absolutely.
process.
I think the key takeaway for our listeners is to stay tuned and keep an open mind. There's so much riding on the credibility of both the prosecution and the defense. And as more testimonies and evidence roll in, we'll see how this complex narrative unfolds.
Yeah, it's a legal drama of epic proportions, combining aspects of celebrity culture, personal legacy, and serious criminal charges. We'll be watching every cross-examination and every surprising moment.
Agreed. Thanks for this deep dive. It's a story that goes well beyond just entertainment. It's a case that reflects larger questions in our society about power, consent, and accountability.
Absolutely. And as always, we'll be right here in the thick of it to bring the latest developments and our detailed analyses. Stay tuned for more updates as the trial progresses.
Yes. Thank you all for joining us on TCP Podcast. We'll be back with another episode soon, covering every significant twist and turn as this case unfolds.